and welcome to the April 2022 edition of SPS Global Insights Report, intending to inform you of critical incidents around the world relating to kidnap, ransom, extortion and piracy. We begin in North America. The government of the United States has issued a warning to citizens to avoid travelling to 5 of Mexico's 32 states, as crime and the risk of kidnapping reaches an all-time high. Police and officials in the coastal state of Michoacan have lost control of law and order. Its location and seaports provide the ideal breeding ground for importing, producing and trafficking illicit narcotics like marijuana and opium, as well as methamphetamine and synthetic opioids smuggled in from China. Powerful drug cartels have become a law unto themselves as they violently compete for market share using military-grade weapons, which include shoulder-launched missiles, landmines, drones armed with explosives, and heavy automatic weapons. It is unlikely that the conflict will be resolved anytime soon due to the state's strategic location, coupled with the ineffective security policies required for the effective rule of law. Extortion is also rife, fueled by opportunities presented by the legitimate and profitable production of crops such as avocados. Non-compliant farmers and citizens are kidnapped, some even murdered. Moving down to Central America and El Salvador. On the 27th of March, a 30-day state of emergency was declared in El Salvador after a 72-hour gang murder spree. Over 3 days, just under 100 people were killed on the streets of towns and cities. The country holds one of the highest crime rates in the world and is also known for its maritime and land smuggling routes for illegal drugs, weapons, and human trafficking. Corrupt politicians used the guise of less violence to gain public support, when in fact they negotiated with criminal gangs, most notably Mara Salvatrucha, or MS-13, and Barrio 18, to bring down crime rates. In exchange, gangs were afforded numerous benefits, including the police turning a blind eye to many of their illegal activities. According to analysts, the sudden increase in violent crime is due to failed negotiations between President Bukele and the gangs. The security situation is critical, and visitors to San Salvador and several other municipalities, including San Miguel, Santa Ana, Apopa, and Mexicanos, should exercise caution. Let's head to the Caribbean and Haiti. Haiti's already extreme crime and kidnapping rates have skyrocketed since the assassination of President Jovenel Moïse in July 2021. The Haitian National Police is in active conflict with a criminal organization called Phantom 509. Comprised of active duty police officers, former police officers, and gang members, this highly trained and armed group stands in violent opposition to the Haitian government and its national police's high command. The group's violence and contempt for the rule of law, coupled with its association with the police, has further undermined public confidence in the Haitian National Police. Moving over to Asia and the Philippines. According to the Philippine National Police, crime rates have almost halved. President Duterte's controversial crackdown on crime, particularly drug-related crime, has been flagged by the United Nations Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights in a report stating that more than 8,000 drug suspects were killed by security forces. However, the threat of kidnapping in the Philippines is still high. Several organized criminal syndicates that focus exclusively on kidnaps for ransom operate in and around Metro Manila. They typically target workers or customers of Chinese-run Philippine offshore gaming operators, Chinese nationals, East and South Asian expatriates, short-term travelers, and members of the Chinese-Filipino business community and their families. Now into cyberspace. 2 months after the first invasion into Ukraine, cyber experts who initially expressed surprise at the lack of Russian cyber attacks have had a 180-degree change in opinion. NATO's cyber experts are now calling the cyber attacks Russia's biggest military success to date in the war in Ukraine. Let's take a look at the reasons why. Cyber operations began in January 2022. Ransomware attacks were discovered on systems throughout Ukraine, including the Foreign Ministry and networks used by the Ukrainian cabinet. Simultaneously, the Belarusian threat actor UNC 1151 and the Russian Military Intelligence Service, GRU, conducted a number of cyber attacks on Ukrainian government, defence and banking websites. On February 24th, the day of the invasion, cyber attacks on Ukrainian government systems as well as a major satellite provider caused widespread outages throughout Ukraine. It is reported that in one day, Russia deployed more malware than all global cyberpowers usually collectively deploy in a year. UNC 1151 was tied to attacks targeting the Polish government and military, as well as attempted cyber attacks against European government personnel aiding Ukrainian refugees. Another cyber attack on February 23rd deployed malware that spread and affected other Baltic countries. With precedents like this set in the first months of the invasion, we can expect more cyber attacks which are likely to extend in both range and impact. Finally, we take a look at the open seas and review the incidence of piracy around the globe. The prevalence of piracy in the Gulf of Guinea and more recently the Black Sea has surpassed the rest of the world, including the Gulf of Mexico. The Bay of Campeche, located off the Atlantic coast of Mexico in the southern Gulf of Mexico, is home to the majority of Mexico's oil reserves. 200 oil platforms and the supply vessels that service them have become favoured targets for pirates over recent years. Despite the Mexican Navy concentrating surveillance and patrols in the area, the World Maritime University has reported that the average response time to emergency calls is 2 hours. Attacks over the course of 2021 show that these measures have been ineffective in curbing the increasing level of piracy. Cited reasons for the increase in piracy in the waters of the Gulf of Mexico include the relatively low number of piracy-related arrests, which is a source of encouragement for pirates, possible government corruption, and the impact of COVID-19. We hope our SPS Global Insights report has been of value and urge you to read the full report for a comprehensive overview of the SPS Kidnapping, Piracy and Ransom Bulletin. Stay tuned for next month's edition.